G1D, Volunteer Examiners and Volunteer Examiner Coordinators. Temporary Identification, Element Credit. Remote Operation, G1D01A, 97.501, 97.505, A, who may receive partial credit for the elements represented by an expired amateur radio license. A, any person who can demonstrate that they once held an FCC-issued General, Advanced, or Amateur Extra class license that was not revoked by the FCC. B, anyone who held an FCC-issued amateur radio license that expired not less than 5 and not more than 15 years ago. C, any person who previously held an amateur license issued by another country, but only if that country has a current reciprocal licensing agreement with the FCC. D, only persons who once held an FCC-issued novice, technician, or technician plus license. G1D02C, 97.509B, 3. I. What license examinations may you administer as an accredited volunteer examiner holding a general class? Operator license? A, general and technician. B, none. Only amateur extra class licensees may be accredited. C, technician only. D, amateur extra, general, and technician. G1D03C, 97.9B. On which of the following band segments may you operate if you are a technician class operator and have an unexpired certificate of successful completion of examination, CSCE, for general class privileges? A, only the technician band segments until your upgrade is posted in the FCC database. B, only on the technician band segments until you have a receipt for the FCC application fee payment. C, on any general or technician class band segment. D, on any general or technician class band segment except 30 meters and 60 meters. G1D04A, 97.5093, I, C, who must observe the administration of a technician class license examination? A, at least 3 volunteer examiners of general class or higher. B, at least 2 volunteer examiners of general class or higher. C, at least 2 volunteer examiners of technician class or higher. D, at least 3 volunteer examiners of technician class. G1D05A, 97.7. When operating a U.S. station by remote control from outside the country, what license is required of the control operator? A, U.S. operator/primary station license. B, only an appropriate U.S. operator/primary license and a special remote station permit from the FCC. C, only a license from the foreign country, as long as the call sign includes identification of portable operation in the U.S. D, a license from the foreign country and a special remote station permit from the FCC. G1D06A, 97.119F, 2. Until an upgrade to general class is shown in the FCC database. When must a technician licensee identify with AG after their call sign? A, whenever they operate using general class frequency privileges. B, whenever they operate on any amateur frequency. C, whenever they operate using technician frequency privileges. D, a special identifier is not required if their general class license application has been filed with the FCC. G1D07C, 97.509B, 1. Volunteer examiners are accredited by what organization? A, the Federal Communications Commission. B, the Universal Licensing System. C, a Volunteer Examiner Coordinator. D, the Wireless Telecommunications Bureau. G1D08B, 97.509B, 3. Which of the following criteria must be met for a non-U.S. citizen to be an accredited volunteer examiner? A. The person must be a resident of the U.S. for a minimum of 5 years. B. The person must hold an FCC-granted amateur radio license of general class or above. C. The person's home citizenship must be in ITU Region 2. D. None of these choices is correct. A non-U.S. citizen cannot be a volunteer examiner. G1D09C 97.9b. How long is a Certificate of Successful Completion of Examination, CSCE, valid for exam element credit? A. 30 days. B. 180 days. C. 365 days. D. For as long as your current license is valid. G1D10B 97.509b. 2. What is the minimum age that one must be to qualify as an accredited volunteer examiner? A. 16 years. B. 18 years. C. 21 years. D. There is no age limit. G1D11D 97.505. What action is required to obtain a new general class license after a previously held license has expired and the 2-year grace period has passed? A. They must have a letter from the FCC showing they once held an amateur or commercial license. B. There are no requirements other than being able to show a copy of the expired license. C. Contact the FCC to have the license reinstated. D. The applicant must show proof of the appropriate expired license grant and pass the current element 2 exam. G1D12C 97.507. When operating a station in South America by remote control over the Internet from the U.S., what regulations apply? A. Those of both the remote station's country and the FCC. B. Those of the remote station's country and the FCC's third-party regulations. C. Only those of the remote station's country. D. Only those of the FCC.